Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News Updates, your trusted source for breaking developments and insightful analysis on the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, and related currency movements. Today, we bring you a critical report that has financial insiders and currency watchers on high alert. A surge of speculation and concern is spreading throughout the global financial community as one of America's largest banks has abruptly gone silent on all inquiries related to the Vietnamese dong. For those holding VND or closely tracking its status, this sudden quiet isn't being dismissed. It's being interpreted as a signal that major behind-the-scenes changes could be underway. In recent days, reports have surfaced from multiple VND holders who reached out to major U.S. banks including Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan Chase, and Bank of America to inquire about exchanging Vietnamese dong. Traditionally, these institutions responded with standard explanations, that the VND is actively traded, not revalued, and that exchange rates reflect broader global policies. But now, there's only silence. Vague responses from call centers, deflections to internal policies, and a complete lack of clarity have replaced past communications. And this change isn't happening in a vacuum. Vietnam's economy has been making calculated strides toward global financial integration, with steady trade surpluses, increasing gold reserves, bilateral currency arrangements, and a booming export sector. Financial experts have long argued that the Vietnamese dong is significantly undervalued. Now, the pieces appear to be aligning for a deliberate, structured, and possibly massive revaluation. Why the sudden secrecy from U.S. banks? One likely explanation is the activation of what insiders call a compliance silence window. This is a protocol that some financial institutions implement during a currency transition period where external discussions about a foreign currency are frozen to prevent misinformation leaks, insider trading, or public panic. During such a window, systems may be updated quietly, and frontline staff are directed to avoid commenting or speculating. Backing up this theory are reports from a confidential source within a top 5 U.S. bank who revealed that the institution's foreign currency trading interface was recently updated. According to this source, visibility of the Vietnamese dong rate was entirely removed from certain internal platforms, a rare move that typically coincides with behind-the-scenes testing or recalibration. Additional internal memos allegedly reminded staff to redirect all VND queries and refrain from offering opinions, directly naming the currency as a sensitive subject. Vietnam itself has been sending strong signals. Over the last 6 months, the Vietnamese government has undertaken significant reforms. It has overhauled central banking operations, opened new offshore remittance pathways, signed fresh currency exchange agreements with nations in the Middle East and Asia, and welcomed foreign audit agencies to review its national finances. These are the types of moves countries make in advance of a currency realignment. Further adding weight to this possibility is a recent closed-door meeting between the State Bank of Vietnam and IMF consultants. Though the official summary wasn't released, media in Asia reported that the session focused on forward-looking currency integration. This suggests Vietnam is seriously preparing for a new position in the global currency hierarchy, a move that would require an upward revaluation of the dong. If that's the case, then the silence from U.S. banks could mean they're already preparing internally. They could be testing back-end systems, receiving discrete instructions from federal financial regulators, or even preparing redemption desks ahead of a public announcement. History supports this type of behavior. When Kuwait revalued its currency decades ago, global financial institutions were ordered to suspend external communications 72 hours before the announcement. Many believe we're seeing a similar sequence play out now with Vietnam. In online forums, chatter has intensified. Users are sharing stories of banks denying large cash withdrawals after recent VND purchases, of online currency checkers going offline, and of mobile banking apps experiencing sudden glitches. These are classic signs of institutions managing internal volatility ahead of a market-shifting event. Experts have argued for years that the Vietnamese dong has been suppressed to support exports, manage post-war recovery, and cooperate with IMF stabilization efforts. But with Vietnam now ascending as a major global manufacturing hub, there's little economic logic in maintaining a weak currency. It's time for the market to correct, and governments seem poised to make it happen. So, what should you do as a VND holder? First, ensure that your currency is securely stored, preferably with receipts or documentation that proves its authenticity and origin. Higher-rate exchanges, if they become available, will likely require proof of purchase. Next, stay vigilant. The banking silence isn't cause for panic. It's a cue to prepare. Research your bank's foreign exchange policies, track changes in their mobile app terms, and look for subtle indicators like updates to service agreements or the sudden appearance of new terms like redemption desks. Monitor official sources closely. Watch for statements from the State Bank of Vietnam, the IMF, and global financial institutions like the World Bank. Real updates will likely emerge from these organizations first. Also, form a clear plan. Consider whether you'd redeem your holdings all at once or in stages. Will you accept the bank rate or seek tiered rates through redemption appointments? Make these decisions ahead of time. And most importantly, ignore the noise. In a time of pending change, speculation, hype, and fear can muddy your judgment. Understand that this silence from U.S. banks is structured, likely guided by regulatory instructions, and is often the final stage before a major policy shift. Some insiders are even pointing to unusual back-end behavior, simulated client appointments, flagged emails with the phrase VND redemption, and employees being reassigned to currency support roles. None of this aligns with business as usual. Small, private groups are beginning to form as well. Seasoned currency holders creating vetted networks, pooling intel, and even bringing in professional advisors to prepare tax and exchange plans. When secrecy becomes the norm, serious players prepare quietly. This may well be the calm before the currency storm. And, as always, Iraqi Dinar News Updates is here to keep you informed every step of the way. Stay tuned, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a critical update. Because at this point, the question is no longer if the Vietnamese dong will revalue, it's when, and the signs suggest that when is very, very close.